Hi, my name is Monique Gafford, and this video is to demonstrate a watercoloring technique that I learned recently, and I wanted to share with my classroom. I'm an 8th grade teacher. I normally teach science. As you can tell, I'm not really an artist, but I wanted to share this technique with my kids, my homeroom, and have them create their own pictures that they could use to decorate their house for Christmas or to share with their moms as a gift. Just different ideas for them. I like this technique that I'm about to show you because it creates a watercolor picture with vibrant colors. It's better than just using the watercolor paint. And it's also really clean. Takes everyday materials that you would have or could buy very cheaply, and it doesn't create a huge mess, which is really important in a classroom.
There are several materials needed for this project. The first one is watercolor paper. You'll want watercolor paper instead of regular paper because regular paper tends to bubble up, whereas watercolor paper does not. You'll also want watercolor paintbrushes. You can just buy cheap ones from the store. There's nothing fancy. Washable markers, a number 2 pencil or lighter. You'll also need some salt, a cup of water, and a frame. The frame is optional, but I think it gives you a finished look. So let's get started. The first step is to lightly draw in your picture. In this case, it's a picture of a poinsettia. Because I want to frame this picture, I will first trace the back of a 5x7 frame so I know the boundaries of my picture. It's okay for your pencil lines to show up in your painting. However, if you don't want to see the lines very well, then be sure to draw lightly. I feel that I'm not a very good artist, and therefore I'm not very good at drawing. So when I draw, I find it helpful to have an example to look at in order to imitate. For this picture, I just pulled one off the internet. Poinsettias are easy to draw because their petals are randomly placed, and they have simple, fat petals. The leaves are similarly shaped, but they're a little bit smaller. They stick out behind the petals. And that's the end of step 1. After you've drawn in your picture, you will use washable markers to shade in your picture. For my poinsettia, I'm going to use a basic color palette. I'm going to use red for the petals, yellow for the center of the flower, and green for the leaves. I will later add a blue background. Notice that I don't shade in every inch of the petals. The water in the next step will spread the marker out so you can't see the marker lines or white space. You also want to add some dimension to the flower through shading. Notice that I color the inside of the petals and then lighten the marker amount as I near the outside edge. You could also add shading by adding another color. If you do this, make sure you have a test paper handy. Step 3. Next, you'll want to simply add water to your painting using a watercolor paintbrush. You want to start with the lightest color on your painting and brush toward the darker sections. In this case, I will start with the yellow center and move out toward the green leaves. If you start with the darker colors, it's hard to keep the darker colors from intruding on the lighter colors. It's okay if you get some bleeding of one color into the other part of the watercoloring. As you add water to your painting, you'll periodically want to add salt to your wet painting. The salt pulls some of the color, adding a speckling to the picture. The larger the grains of salt, the larger speckles you will get. You will later brush the salt off after the painting is dried to reveal areas of lighter and darker paint. thus creating the speckled effect of this water painting. Once you are finished with the painting of the picture, you will want to wait a while, then add the background. You want to leave the background until after the picture has come close to dry. This will prevent the background colors from leaching into the picture. And now we're ready for the last step. After your poinsettia has dried and you have brushed off the salt, you are ready for the last step, adding the background. For the background, you'll follow the same steps as you did for the picture. You'll think about shading, then add water and salt and allow it to dry. For the background, since it's a large area you will be coloring, you want to make sure your marker lines go in the same direction. You will not get a very polished finish if you scribble in different directions. Often, because the background is darker, I end up having problems with leaching into the picture. You might find it helpful to have a paper towel handy to soak up any unwanted leaching. You can see where the blue is flowing into my red right now. And I'll try to clean that up with a paper towel. And now, with very little mess to clean up, your beautiful poinsettia is done. Finally, you'll want to choose a frame and then display it as decor or give it as a gift. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. Thank you.